Hey everyone, so this is the first video that I'm going to do on a bunch of different niches to see whether or not these niches are worthwhile pursuing for an affiliate marketing website using the Amazon Associates program. So the first one we're going to have a look at is a baseball niche. I'm going to break it down, see whether or not we can find enough keywords for it and whether or not the keywords have low enough competition that a new person can probably rank their pages within the first 12 months to start turning a profit of a couple of $100 a month. So let's get started with the baseball affiliate niche site. So how I'm choosing a niche, and this will be for all the videos I make on different niches, is I like to start my niches with about 30 buyer keywords and 30 info keywords. And then I'll, over the first 3 months, write all the buyer keywords and all the info keywords and build about 20 backlinks to my site. As I go along, I find more and more buyer keywords. So even though I'm starting with 30, realistically, you want the site to have a lot more than 30 in the end, maybe 50, 60, 70. That's just my personal preference. So for the viability threshold for all these 30 different buyer keywords, I want them to be attainable, by which I mean I want them to have high enough traffic but low enough competition that a new site can rank on the front page of Google within about 12 months. So this is how I do my viability test. My first step is I find the keywords. I mine competitor pages and I use Keyword Shitter, which is a free tool online, to come up with a whole list of different keywords. And then I eliminate the keywords that have got low traffic. My threshold for low traffic is less than 100 search visits per month. I use Keywords Everywhere, which is a paid tool. Pay $10 and you get like 100,000 searches. So I use that paid tool to eliminate any of the keywords that don't get enough traffic per month. And then step 3 is I eliminate high competition keywords. And to do that, I use the Moz domain checker. And my criteria is to find at least 2 pages on the front page of Google of those 10 pages that pop up, at least 2 of them where the domain authority of those pages is less than 20. That's a good indication that some not so authoritative sites are still making it to the top. So your site, which will be new and won't have much authority, should be able to compete with them if you do good on-page SEO. Step 4, I usually do a little bit further niche analysis. I look at things like the seasonality, commission rates, etc. Before I decide whether or not I want to go ahead with the niche. And step 5, if I like the niche, I'll buy the domain name. So let's have a see whether or not baseball would be a worthwhile niche. So first thing I did when I was doing the research for this one is I went to competitor pages and I had a look at some of the competitor pages, some of their sort of niche sites, just like the one that I would want to build, and see what sort of keywords are they trying to rank for. And then I gather a couple of them together. So some that I found was best baseball gloves, best baseball bats, best X for baseball, best X for softball, etc. Once I've got a list of keywords, I'll put them through Keyword Shitter and it will deliver these sorts of results. It'll literally deliver thousands of results if you let it keep going and going and going. So there's best batting helmets ones, best baseball gloves ones, and you can see there in brackets after each result, it tells me how many searches per month. The reason that happened there was because I have Keywords Everywhere, which sort of integrates really well with Keyword Shitter to give these results. So once I developed that raw keyword list, I copied it all, pasted it in an Excel document, and sorted it by monthly search volume. I then simply deleted anything that had monthly search volume of less than 100, and I deleted anything that was irrelevant. So for example, you might have best baseball players of all time. Obviously, the keyword best baseball players of all time isn't a buyer keyword. You can't go on Amazon and buy the best baseball player of all time. So you just delete that one and move on to ones that will have products that you can promote. So once I'd done that, I'd gotten to 38 keywords that made the final list. And you can see all of them listed here. Things like best baseball gloves, best baseball bats for 8-year-olds, best baseball helmets, etc., etc. From that list, we need to see which ones have a low enough competition that you could reasonably rank for them. So for that, I do SERP competition analysis using the Moz DA checker, which is a free Google Chrome extension. What I'm doing is looking for pages on the front page of Google that are weak but still ranking, so I could probably outrank them with a bit of good on-page SEO, maybe building a few backlinks. So weakness is measured by low domain authority. So domain authority for Moz is basically their way of seeing how many backlinks are feeding into the domain, and then a whole bunch of other factors that Moz thinks leads to whether or not Google will rank a site. So let's have a look at an example of one of them. So I went through all 38 of them, but here's an example of one from the best baseball bats. Its volume is 2,900. That volume is written there because, again, I have Keywords Everywhere installed on Google Chrome. First thing that I notice here when we come to the competition analysis is that on the front page, you can see there underlined in red, a lot of the websites that are making it to the front page look like similar niche pages to the one that I would want to build, which is a good sign because it shows that Google's happy ranking small niche pages for these best baseball keywords. And then I'll go through and all those black bars underneath all of the search results, that's Moz telling me what the domain authority is of each page. And you can see here that there's one on position 5, it's a domain authority of 19, quite a low domain authority, one with a domain authority of 13, and one with a domain authority of 11. That domain authority 11 one does have 283 links pointing to it, which makes me a bit sketchy. It's probably ranking quite highly because it's got so many links pointing to it. I should say that Moz isn't perfect and neither is Keywords Everywhere, but it does give a bit of a ballpark figure. So what I like about this, for these best baseball bats, is that 3 of the pages on the top 10 all have DAs under 20, so they're all quite weak pages or quite weak domains. So the process of elimination, I went through every single one of them, did what I just showed you on the screen there, and I removed any keywords from the list where the front page of the SERPs was full of strong pages. So all 10 of them had really strong DAs. And I only kept the ones where there were at least 2 pages on the front page of the SERPs, so in the top 10 results, with a DA of 20 or less. So you can see I kept the one on this previous slide because there were 3 pages with DA of 20 or less. So the competition analysis shows me that for this best baseball bats, which gets 2,900 searches a month, it's pretty weak. You could probably compete for that. So my final list of viable keywords came to 29. So remember at the start of the video, I said I usually look for about 30. So this got pretty close. I'll leave a link to the list in the doobly-doop underneath, so you can download that list if you want to make a best baseball niche site. But to be honest, the other 9 that didn't quite make the list, they were all pretty weak as well. So on this screen, I'm showing you the DAs of the pages on the top 10 results on Google, and most of them have several pages with DAs around 20 to 25 range. So that low 20s range is pretty good. My actual main problem with this niche is that beyond those initial 38 keywords, there's not much around. So it's probably going to be quite a limited and defined niche. So this is where I have to do some further analysis and think, well, okay, it did just about make my criteria, but there might be some other things that I need to keep in mind. One of them is it's seasonal. It's going to have probably higher traffic in spring and summer, and then over winter, it's going to be quite a lull and you might not make very much money. Product prices, they're around $50 to $150 for gloves and bats and those sorts of things, which is pretty good. With a 3% Amazon commission rate, you're looking at around about $2 to $5 per sale. And then expansion potential, as I mentioned, once you've exhausted those 38 keywords, there's not very far to go. There's not much else you can do unless you register a domain that's a general sports domain, and then you can spread out. But the risk of if you register a general sports domain is that Google might not recognize your authority in baseball, and you might not rank very well for those baseball key terms. So there's a risk going that way. Okay, so my verdict. Is baseball a good niche to go into for your first Amazon affiliate site? My verdict is it's a viable niche for generating a side income, but I can't see too much room for expansion. There's too much seasonality. So I personally am not going to go with it. I'm going to pass on this one. If you want to have it, go for it. Feel free to use my keywords from the previous slides, or you can download them from the doobly-doop. And if I were to do that, I would literally just go through all 38 of those buyer keywords and write one article a day for 38 days to have all 38 of them up, get them indexed on Google, start writing those 38 info posts as well to balance it out to 50-50, and then see what happens. Build some backlinks and see if you can start making some money. I think that you would probably be able to make $500 to $1,000 a month from this in the spring and summer months, and then over the winter, probably not much. So next step, if you were to choose this baseball niche and go ahead and use all of those keywords that I just provided, you'd have to come up with a domain name. So I would go to namecheap.com, look up for some domain names. I looked up 4 of them that are all available right now. Of those, Outfielders Perspective, Baseball Obsessed, Baseball Passion, Batters and Pitchers. I would probably go for baseballpassion.com. Just my preference. Doesn't really matter which one you choose, but that's the one that I'd lean towards. If you can think of a better baseball niche name, put it in the chat. Tell me what you think you would name your baseball domain. Okay, and that's it. So suggest a niche in the comments below if you want me to analyze another niche that you've been interested in, or just a niche that crosses your mind one day. And stay tuned, subscribe if you want. I'm going to try to produce a whole bunch more of these niche analyses so that we can analyze 50, 60 different niches and see if we can find some golden ones in there that would be really, really, really good for your niche site. Okay, thanks very much, and I'll see you next time.